All right, let's begin. Good day to all of you. Welcome to our online lecture. And today we've already um, come this far. Congratulations, class. Naabot na mo sa final countdown. As promised, I recorded this lecture for those who weren't able to attend our online classes. And hopefully you can get a lot of concepts and techniques. We will be talking about how to handle your stress. It's final weeks. You pretty stressed out with your exams and 9, 10 subjects. So hopefully, yeah, you can get the necessary skills and strategies for you to cope with your stress. Okay, so in our class, synchronous class, I checked my classes feelings. If you could comment what you felt. But if mashy mo, okay ra po, alam mo comment. Okay, so are you feeling happy, calm, curious, silly, excited, proud, confident? Any emoji to tell me what you feel. If you want to, place it there. Now, I also linked a stress questionnaire for you to check out, whether or not or how stressed you are. So I linked it there. I believe it was BeMindfulOnline.com. So kindly check your stress level so that you can better relate to our topic today. And please disregard this Mentimeter since it's already expired and you can no longer join that. Okay, so that's for my synchronous class. This is asynchronous. So what are we going to do today? Firstly, we will define what stress is, okay? Next, we will be talking about the stages of stress, particularly by Hans Selye's General Adaptation Syndrome model. And lastly, we will talk about the techniques for coping or for you to cope with your stress. A healthy coping ha, dili unhealthy coping. We'll also discuss that. Unsa may difference nilang duha. So class, what do you think is stress? Okay? We always use that word. Stress na kaayo ko ay kay daghan kaayo gipang answer si Miss na group activities niya dili mo tabang ako mga other group mates. Okay? Stress na jud kay ko kay naggara-gara na sa dakong uyab ng mga igana. Nagkargara kong uyab na finals exam pag yun. Gibuwagan ko finals week, 'di ba? We use that word in very what do you call that? In almost in everyday living, right? What stress is. So you will not, you won't deny the fact na kitang tanan naka-experience na gyud og stress. So what is really the definition of stress according to scholars? Well, for them class, stress is basically very normal. Everybody, kitang tanan maka-experience gyud tag stress. It's a normal reaction to a challenging situation, a stressful event, or a threatening life situation. So everybody of us have experienced stress. What a few doesn't know is that some scholars would categorize stress into different types. And one of the most common categorization of stress is eustress and distress. Okay, eustress is the good kind of stress, particularly the stimuli or the stressors that you will experience probably in a eustress is something positive or pleasant. Say, for example, planning your wedding, uh, participating in ceremonial rites for your graduation. What else? Maybe participating in a debate that you prepared for, or public speaking that you prepared for, quiz and orals that you prepared for. So those are eustress. Distress is the commonly known stress ninyo, which involves a lot of negative consequences, not only sa imuhang health, but in your overall well-being. Okay, so that's distress. Pero let's further find out unsa magyud difference sa duha class. Okay, we have eustress and distress here. There are a lot of variables involved when we classify between eustress and distress, but these, according to this news article, or this article rather, this is the five major or five picked out variables that could possibly um, contrast the two. So for eustress, it's short term. Dili na siya all year round ninyo experience. Probably for 1 hour, 1 day, a few days while you're still preparing. but it does not go beyond that. It's very short term with a clear solution or a way out of the situation. Following that, because there is a vision as to asa ka padung, you have a concrete strategies outlined. Even if it's challenging, you feel it's manageable. So that's eustress for you. There is the involvement of frustration and worry, but it also includes positive emotions like fulfillment or happiness. For example, kasway ba na class na nag-prepare mo sa inyong quiz, then right after, naka-feel mo a feeling of being relieved, of being fulfilled na, hi, finally man na, nagyud ang kakapoy, right? So probably you're experiencing eustress. Now, the self-efficacy usually occurs in situations where a person feels confident or self-efficacy is high. Now, if you go back to our previous discussions, you would see that there is a relationship between how you set goals and how high your self-efficacy is. Remember, na people with high self-efficacy are more likely to set challenging goals because they have these sort of strategies with them na dili na sila dali ma-overwhelm. So, it all ties up in the end. Okay? Kabantay mo sa mga relationships of variables. And lastly, physical well-being. Less likely to affect physical health, although occasional eustress may actually improve it. Okay? So for distress class, it's chronic. You'll be probably experiencing distress if you've never have. I mean, when you're recalling or looking back sa imong life experiences, it takes you a long time to really highlight na there was a moment in your life na relax ka. Okay, you cannot you para ninyo since the day one or since say for example since nag-college mo wala na mo ka-experience of being relaxed or being calm and peaceful. So maybe you're experiencing distress. More likely to feel manageable or overwhelming. So if you're presented with a difficult task, kalit dali na kayo mo ma-overwhelm, dili mo kaayo ka diretsog highlight or ka craft of plans and strategies for you to counter that one or how you go about this type of problem. So next, your emotions, more likely anxiety, induced that dali ra mo ma-anxious, dali ra mo ma-panic, and there's a very a sense of hopelessness. So if makakita mo nag-pile up na inyong mga things to answer, mga missing activities, 20 ka buok, imong piled up activities are 20 ka buok, and now you feel overwhelmed and ato pa sa akong mga klase, di na sila ka-pinpoint asa sila mo tan-aw, no? It's mean to say everything has been so dark already for them and everything has been unmanageable and overwhelming. So chances are you are experiencing distress as well. More likely you would panic, you would have anxious thoughts, your self-efficacy is also rather affected. You will have low self-efficacy. You feel like you cannot tackle onto the task that you need to tackle. More likely to affect physical health, especially if the distress is chronic. So we'll talk about that. Ang effects of stress in your health because stress is the number one killer. Now, physical well-being. Class, when you're experiencing stress, whether or not it's eustress or distress, um, the hormones released are the same, but the reaction sa body is different. Why? For eustress, na ay chances na maka-release siya hormones which will further improve your mental and physical endurance. What hormones am I referring to? Endorphins, especially if you exercise. When you exercise, it's sort of challenging, diba? There are times that challenging exercise, but it's only short term. And once you finish exercise, you experience that boost of energy. So that's eustress for you. Okay? Pero class, scholars doesn't agree na i-categorize ang stress into two boxes. No, they don't. There are a lot of scholars or experts who disagree about this one. They said, now, why would you categorize eustress and distress? A lot of variables come into play. Particularly, each person have different experiences, different socioeconomic status, different resources available, different personalities. So why would you categorize a certain activity as that of producing eustress compared to distress? No, ni ana ang mga experts. Actually, there are a lot of variables that mix, okay, or that affects each other. And these are the few na I would say na mo matter, no, and also from the readings that I did from our material. First is mindset. Recall back sa Carol Dweck na theory, growth versus fixed mindset. So most likely, if naka-growth mindset, you see a problem not as an obstacle that blocks your way, but as something, a challenge to create a solution from and improve. Okay? So if you have that kind of mindset, once you're dealt with a certain problem or once you're given a certain problem, you dili kay mo pas ma-overwhelm. Rather, you look at the solution rather than ruminate about the problem. So if you have a growth mindset, or if you what's the word? If you trained yourself to have that growth mindset, more likely if you encounter challenging situations, maka-experience mo more eustress than distress. Next is your stress tolerance. It will be mentioned later about the video rather na ako i-link below about sa TED na ang mga rat pups class na nagi-care for a neglectful na mother rat have a very sensitive receptors for stress. Meaning to say, dali ra kay sila ma-stress, dali ra sila ma-overwhelm if neglectful ilang mom. But if gi-exchange sila class and gipakuan sila, what do you call that, kanang caring na rat mom, so mas na-improve noon ilahang stress tolerance, no? Mas dili sila sensitive to stress. So it matters. Your environment matters and the way you were brought up. Next is your mental strength and endurance. This is not fixed. It could be trained. And your grit, okay? Grit is also very important in dealing with stress. Your self-efficacy also matters. How you manage your emotions also matters. So if you have that tools that was introduced to you in handling your emotions, especially complicated and highly arousing emotions, then chances are more likely mo maka-experience of eustress than distress. And of course, we talked about this one already, resources. Not all of us are rowing the same boats. Mo na siyang akong giingon as example sa akong class is motivational speakers who says na kanang, did you know that none of that matters? Like what you're given with, you can improve it if you have mental endurance, if you have this, if you just work hard, if you just persevere, but that's not the case. According to research, okay, it's been found out, class, na people who are in the low socioeconomic status are much more likely to experience distress once they're encountering challenging situations as compared with those who have financial stability or those in the average to upper socioeconomic status. So resources does matter. And common sense na yun na, class. Kay if, for example, you don't have the financial resources, ang thinking ra gyud na nimo is survival. Your brain is in the survival mode. So there's no higher order thinking, or there's no space for you, or there's no space for your mental state to think other factors or higher order factors like how can I improve my how can I solve this problem, etc., etc. How can I do this when you're still thinking of your day-to-day survival? Okay, so that's common sense nga, no? And especially if you're in a toxic environment, remember the research about the rat pups? So, it comes into play rapod na if you're born in a toxic environment, you're dealt with neglectful parents, which are also most likely the case if raised ka into a lower socioeconomic status, because chances are your parents might probably be too busy to care for you. Say for example lang, okay? So it could be that your stress tolerance will be affected, your self-efficacy will be affected, right? So resources does matter. Mo nang bottom line in a nutshell, sige lang use of bottom line. In a nutshell, class, do not think that, I mean, a lot of things not should be considered, but the thing is sometimes we're just dealt with bad cards, okay? And yes, it's up to us to improve that, but there are things really that's outside of our control, and we need to learn to deal with that fact, which we will also delve into later, okay? And here is the video that I was talking about how stress affects our brain. So I will link it sa description box. You can watch it for those na dili part sa akong klase, for those na absent. You can watch this one. So basically, the video, ako lang siya i-ano, no? The video states that a lot of scientific chuchu, no? But bottom line is, the rat pops was discussed with this one. And if you encounter chronic stress, it does not only affect your physical well-being, but also your mental well-being. So more likely mo maka-experience of depression, anxiety, and etc. Okay? So that's one ang ningon sila na stress is the #1 killer. Kay imuhang body maapektuhan yun. But there are again a lot of strategies where you can do something about it to help you cope more better. Okay? And next, all right, and next, here we discuss the stages of stress according to Hans Selye. Okay, so we're done now talking about the definition of stress, right? Eustress and distress. Now let's go to the stages of stress or the general adaptation syndrome by Hans Selye. Mo ni siyang alarm stage, resistance stage, and exhaustion stage. So unsa nang alarm stage class? Mo ni siya ang reactions in your body. So your body prepares for you to deal with your stress. So whatever stressor that might be. So say for example, in the evolutionary times, or if you go hiking sa mountain and then naka-encounter mo og tiger or bear or dangerous animal, your body will release certain chemicals to aid your body to react accordingly. So fight, flight, or freeze response. So, unsa ni mga hormones, cortisol and epinephrine, mo na ipang-release nila ipang-release sa imuhang body for you to be prepared to act. Okay? So, the same can be said if you encounter a stressor that does not really require you to react right away. So, say for example, if you're taking a difficult test, the same chemicals will be released. So, epinephrine and cortisol, your heart beats faster, and all that, no? And you feel some cold sa imong hands. So that's because of the hormones released during the alarm stage. Now, look into it if you experience chronic stress. No, you continually experience stressor, your hormones continually, or your brain continually produce these hormones, epinephrine, or adrenaline, and cortisol, and then there's no actual life-threatening situation. Kumbaga, ang situation or challenging situation is mental or psychological. Okay? So, imagine your body as sort of like a rubber band. So, mura mo gi-stretch ana. And sige mo ka-stretch, that is resistance stage. But there's a point where sa sige mo stretch, mo snap na imong body. And that class is already the exhaustion stage. Only a few people ever reach this one. The thing is, if you're in the resistance stage, your functioning is terribly low and you know that something is very wrong with your body. So chances are you do things to counter that adverse effects. So possibly na mo quit mo sa imong job. Possibly pod na mo take mo semestral leave kay gikapoy na mo sa sigid eskwela. Okay? So it's your normal response to really cut off anything that's no longer serving you to prevent your rubber band from snapping. Pero some people are so unaware that they continue on and continue on and continue on until they officially break. Okay, so that's the exhaustion stage. So here is the video. I will also link it. So kani gi-discuss ra niya basically with much more detail unsa ako ang giingon. Okay, so this is the model, no? Our heart rate beats up, our lungs we breathe faster, we probably have that great strength for us to run away. Mga kasagaran class, I did share this one to during synchronous activity, no? Na there was naka-experience me, nasunugan me, and then kanang pag adto na mo right after the fire was bitawong na nawagtang ng sunog, nawagtang tanan. So we thought na okay, pasig na sunog apil, no, ang ref, ang everything. And then katong pag adto ni Papa kay gipakaon mi sa silingan gipakaon mi sa silingan class. And then, gitabangan daw me of, food and all. Kakita si Papa exactly our ref naa nila. Okay? So, that's an example na ang cortisol dysfunction para maka-create that superhuman strength for you to carry a ref into your home. And well, the story ends like wala na lang to mind ni Papa kay murag move on na. Okay? So, of course, we know our ref kay pila na to ka years no na may mga scars na pa mga magnet daw. Okay? So mo na siya. So not a great strength yun when we do this. So stress in short bursts is beneficial. It will save your life if there's a really threatening situation. Pero if it's chronic, long term, sige produce imong hormone na, there will come a time na mo decrease imong immunity because of cortisol. I already told you na mo shrink imong frontal lobe, thereby does not give you that much decision making skills what you used back then. Wala kay good focus. When you had good focus back then, can you shrink na imong frontal lobe because of these hormones. Okay, and generally your brain, as I mentioned, is already in survival mode, so more likely they can take risk. You're just really there to survive. And probably a lot of us are already experiencing it right now because of pandemic, of the typhoons, of COVID, and a lot of our relatives have died. May they rest in peace. And a lot of challenges, tagkang guba na facilities, and on and on and on and on. Sagulan pa nimo global news na wala kay mahimo. Okay? So we did, probably all of us right now are experiencing chronic stress. Okay? And hopefully di ta maabot ani na part no na exhaustion, because again, stress can kill, no? And it can lead to a lot of illnesses, even those na dili infectious one like cancer. Okay? So be mindful with your stress levels. So how do we do that, miss? I don't know any coping strategies to deal with my stress. Well, you're very lucky if you watch this video. Okay, I will teach you some coping strategies that is very easy to follow. First and foremost, relaxation activities. Second, physical activity. Third, social support. And fourth, self-care therapy. I know some of you will probably exit this. Kapoy ani wala may something new. But maybe some of the things that we will discuss here is something new. Okay, so I will pause. I will do this. Let's do this in a minute. And breathe in and breathe out. Make sure, touch your lower abdomen. Once you breathe in, dapat mo dako na imong lower abdomen. Once you breathe out, dapat mo hiyos na imong lower abdomen. No? That's a deep abdominal breathing. So do that please for 1 minute. And I will keep quiet. Alright, 1 minute is up. So, probably sa inyo, ang inyong jaw kay na-relieve ang tension, no? Maybe before you did this, nag-anak mo. Okay? So, that's a sure sign that you're anxious or it's not normal na imong molars mo touch. The only time it should touch is when you eat, and that is the only time na mag-touch na siya. Okay? So, when you breathe, probably ni-relieve inyong tension din or imuhang muscle tensions, backaches, ni-relieve. And sometimes when we're too stressed, na ay people na mustop sila breathe unconsciously. Okay, so sometimes we really need this every morning, mga 5 minutes, no? It helps. Right? So hopefully nakatabang ninyo. So here are the relaxation strategies. Deep abdominal breathing, which we just did a while ago. Focus on a soothing word, visualization of tranquil places, repetitive prayer, yoga, tai chi, and qigong. Plus, I tried facilitating a qigong group activity something, and a lot I can really see na ang mga people no kay wag tang gud ilang kunot diri when they do qigong. Qigong, there is a easy beginners level, amateur and advanced level na kuan. So just search it online, no, and you can really perform them. Even yoga na argi na sa YouTube, manang YouTube dakilang YouTube University gyud na siya class, no, kay bisa pag di mo enroll o klase, as long as pugihan mo magsikig search online, research and watch videos, you will be coupled, or you will pocket a lot of skills that you can ever imagine. Okay, so we've come to that age, good and bad, I guess. And yeah, unsa man ang thing here na parihara pero one activity alone. Yes, very good. Meditation. So sige na tag balik-balik ani to the point na kapoy na kay maminaw, miss. Well, dili na ko mo emphasize sa benefits sa meditation. I'll just give you a tool that's good for beginners, or which is also what I used when I was still starting out meditating. Yes, I do meditate class, pero karon so far wala na. For 1 month now ako naka-meditate. I'm going back to it. Okay, so be religious in this one, and you can really see a big difference if you set out your day starting by meditating. So this is only for 5 to 10 minutes guided meditations. It will give you visualization tactics. It will give you it will let you focus on a certain word. So basically kanita na no, tuluan mo ani niya aning guided meditations. And if you could find the other things that you could find online and it works for you, so imo hara pud na class, no, you do you. And of course, ambient relaxation playlist that could calm your brain. I know there are a lot of famous white noise, brown noise that you could search online. So again, the key here is to experiment and see what works for you. So some kay kanang ganang sila total silence lang yun, like nothing at all. Okay? As for me, it doesn't work to me. Ako di ko maka-work anong total silence kay daghag, sa ka-active sa akong brain, sa asa na maabot. And physical activity. Now, I know some of you are also tired of hearing this again. Exercise, a lot of benefits, will cure depression. I not cure, will create a buffer against depression, will increase our mood, and rightly so. Because again, it releases endorphins, it improves our physical body. But why do people get tired of hearing this one? Because they think panggod na when they think about exercise, it has to be like 1 hour or mga repetitions, we need to lift weights. No, not at all. Just walking alone is enough already. Even walking is a form of meditation, if you will it so. Okay? So just brisk walking, going and looking outside the world, it really helps. I tell you, class, really helps. So many times na kabuthon ko, nilakaw lang ko, nibalik na ko sa akong self. Okay? Wala ko ni buto. Okay, so it helps ang walking alone. Okay, so highly recommended. Walang kuskus balugos, 100% verified. And social support class. There is a theory raha na kabantay mo in the Philippines, wala kaayoy cases of psychotic killers or serial killers. And they say it's because Filipinos are collectivist na countries, or they're very prone to socialize, to have a lot of friends, to have a lot of relatives na bisag mag-away-away pa na ano kay kung imong kuanon ako ang igagaw kay magkaaway po ta. That kind of sense of community ba is very prevalent in a Filipino culture, which is aligned with the buffer theory, because they say na the more social support you have, the more you can endure the stresses in life. Not only because going back sa variables, no, it helps you with the resources. So if you're lacking in the financial resources, if you have that kind of support, your relatives could help you. Okay, so could help you in a way. It scientifically, or will we talking about chemistry level? If you just hug your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, kay ate, kay kuya, kay lolo at tita, Daniela Salvador, you just hug your parents or your family member or anyone for that matter, your body will release oxytocin. That's the love hormone. Creates trust, okay? And you remember the hormones that increases happiness and well-being? DOSE or dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay, so social support. I know medyo common sense siya, pero because of pandemic, maybe some of us have already forgotten how important our friends and family are. Okay, so if you counter problem, do not isolate yourself. There are people na tendency nila no isolating themselves. And that doesn't work at all. You're doing a downward spiral. And here we have the self-care therapy. Okay, that's from Nancy Apperson of Northern Illinois University. I did change some to create a much more not comprehensive, summarized version of this one. So first, pause, breathe, and tell yourself, yes, this is hard, but I'll get through this one step at a time. Hinay-hinay lang. I did share it to my class as well. I have a poem here na akong dikit on my side, and when I'm stressed out, unintentionally and intentionally, mabasa na ko siya. Okay? So, ang poem is, I don't know it's awit ng Manlalayag sa Batanes. The Tagalog translation is, ikaw bang ka mabuting kahoy, magpakatatag, huwag kang panghinaan, sikaping makaraan, huwag huminto sa paghahanap, matuling agos, sasamahan ka patungo sa lupa. Because back then class, they used to sing to their boats because our mga ninuno, they believe that the boats have soul. Muna ilang kantahan. So it's actually a song. I don't know how it is sung though, pero ganahan kay ko sa message because it relate to me in a very deep level. So you search for quotes na makatabang ninyo on trying times. Okay, so if you feel lost, search for quotes that will kumbaga give you a feeling of being hugged na it's okay, you will get through there. I know it's dark right now pero makita ra gyud na nimo ang liwanag o diba? May tasaktong kanang saktong liwanag klasa basig unsa na nang liwanag inyong makit-an diha. Okay? Number 2 is acknowledge and accept whatever you are feeling. Oh, some of the unhealthy coping strategies is ibaon. Okay? Ibaon na lang and bottle up the feeling. Anyway, basta believe ba na ibaon, wag ta na bitaw kung imong i-bottle up. No. No, it will manifest in different ways if imong ibaon. Class, okay? So do not bottle up your feelings. Find a way to acknowledge it. If you're hurt, acknowledge your feeling of hurt. If you feel sad, acknowledge it. If you want to cry, cry. Okay? So do not stop yourself from feeling these emotions. You are human. And if you try to stop that, technically imo stop ang the very aspect which that which makes you human. Okay? So dita robot. So I know the conventional thinking is do not let your emotions get the better of you. Do not blah 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 blah. Tungod man na stoicism good and sa kuan ni Socrates no sa na era niya. But very important ang feelings and emotions because it creates value judgment. Okay? It's very important na mag-balance na imuhang rational thinking and imuhang emotional thinking. Mo nang it's important for you to have that kind of emotional management tools. Okay? Tools for you to really express your emotions healthily. Okay? So label it if possible. Because sometimes for good class, we experience an emotion, but it's not really the core of what we're experiencing. I'll give you an example. A father gets mad at his kid because hapit siya maligsan. Kasaban niya maayo. Ikaw ba't nakakaguan? Okay. And if dili na i-digest tarong, di na i-digest tarong sa father class, ang iyong ma-think na yung na-experience na emotion is anger. Pero, if iyang i-try o internalize why he was angry, the anger there is only a secondary emotion. What's the primary emotion? It's the fear na naay mahibitabo sa iyang anak. Diba? And below that fear is a sense of caring because he loves the person or he cares for the person. Unang iana sila class na the opposite of love is not hate but indifference. Because if you're still angry, there's still something. Whatever. Tuumana. Anyway, yeah, label the emotion because not all emotions are true. All emotions are valid, but not all emotions are true or accurate. Okay? Next, find someone who listens. You don't need advice, you need to be heard. So this is also one of the conflicts because we've come to a point now, okay, ano sila, find someone who listens. So I will go and tell my problems to my friend and waka kay ba imong friend na experience the problem. Okay, before you share your problem, see first na naay psychological capacity imong friend to listen to your problem. So you do that through clear communication and express what you need. So say for example, friend, I just need someone to listen to. Are you available? Or friend, I need an advice on this one. Can you help me? So your friend knows na okay, kani siya, need lang niya someone to listen to. I'll just keep quiet and listen to her, feel it and validate her feelings. Pero if may anak mo na, I need an advice. Okay, so she wants my 2 cents on this one, so I'll probably give her a new perspective, a new point of view, okay? Pero if you could not really find one, I suggest that you adopt professional help. You look for professional help. There are available and cheaper sites. There are even free sites, free counseling services from schools already. So be resourceful. It's just on social media, so you can get that. Katong pag Odette class, there was a free counseling service na gi-hand out ang certain school for everybody. Wala running enough. This is just for the university students. It's really for everybody. So search for that kind of services if you really have no one, because sometimes we come to a point that we feel like, quote unquote, we feel like there's no one to talk to. So we have these avenues. Next, maintain your routine as much as possible. It will give you a sense of control, but be realistic. What do I mean by this one? Once you're having a slump, a blue period, or a depression episode or depressive episode, chances are you hate doing anything. Okay? You don't like, gusto na mo wake up in the morning na mo gawa sa imong bed, unsa na magwash sa dishes, mo take a bath. But the thing here is to regain your sense of control. So one step at a time, pinakagamay sa gamay na activity, hinay-hinaya o himo, bahalag sa kapoy, bahalag sakit, just to get that sense of control. For example, today, I will wake up and fold my blanket. Doesn't matter if you wake up kag 11 a.m. If you folded your blanket, that's already an achievement. That kind of simple na task to regain your control. And little by little, maanon yun na imong brain na, okay, gahapon naka-fold ko sa akong blanket. Today, I will fold my blanket and I will try to fold my clothes. Bahalag unsa na pagkatupi imong clothes, bahalag bati na pagkatupi, but you did it. Gitupi ni mong clothes, imong giput back sa imong drawer, and now your bed feels so comforting. You now have that kind of place. Okay, so there was an example that I shared recently with my class that ni adto siya therapist and then ano siya, I wanna really regain that sense of control, but I feel like I cannot do it. Kay ganahan ko maligo, pero ganahan ko maligo while lying down because I just don't have the energy. So ng therapist, do it. Kasi may nag-stop nimo. Doesn't matter if it's unconventional as long as you naligo ka, that has regained your sense of control. Alright, so let's move to the next one, which is allow plenty of time for a task. You will not be as productive as you normally are. Okay, remember class, imong brain na apa na sa survival mode. So chances are you're not as focused as you are, you're not as active as you are, you're not as motivated as you are. So give yourself that grace, give yourself that kindness that it deserves, because you cannot really be as functional as you are if you're under chronic stress. Literally everything probably padung na shut down imong body and brain. So allow yourself, give yourself that grace period, okay? That to be kind to yourself during these challenging times. And number 6, sleep well, eat healthy. Particularly, ayaw mo anang mga foods na maka-spike up sa imuhang kuan. It will do something with your moods and hormones. So as much as possible, eat as healthy as you could. Sleep as well as you could. So, inig buntag, probably get some sunlight. It will help with your sleep. If mag-exercise mo, it will help with your sleep as well. Okay? Learn when to let go. I mentioned this one that some things are already beyond your control. Resist the urge to fix the unfixable. I have here a very great quote na permeating mo sa is an Italian expression, c'est la vie. It means that's life. Kung hinanggaw pa, it is what it is. It is what it is sometimes. You just don't have, you can no longer do something about it, so just let it go. The key here is to be wise. Asay mo makontrol, do something think about the things that you could control, and the thing that you could not control, let it go. Sometimes all we need is to let life happen. Kay wala na gyud tay control ana, let life happen and let life kumbaga kung imagine mo class na nag-grow mo boat and kung masige mo grow og boat niya layo de ato day mo separate day mo sa agos. Okay, so sometimes we just let the river takes us where it needs to take us. Okay, so ingana lang yun sometimes. And number 8, identify a comforting place in your home. Escape for a while if you could journal and meditate. As for me, my thing here is if na-stress na ko sa mga klase, mga babadlong kaayo, mugawas ko, magtanaw ko sa akong mga succulent, magdilig-dilig ko, nga na akong buhaton. Kamo, no, depende na ninyo, na uban na magstay sa CR, kay maabtan og 2 hours, mag-usa mo sa CR, na 2 hours mo na sa CR, kay inyo na po na. Okay, but maybe that's your comforting place in your home. So escape for a while if you could. Sometimes it's nice na mag-journal mo or meditate, but, there is a big but, okay? There's a difference between a healthy escape here and there and a unhealthy escape or escapism. So say for example, nag-away mo sa imong bebe and then imbis na magstorya mo about ani, nagsige noon kag sige kag kanang duwag dota kay di ka ganahan mag-stress ana. Okay, so imong gibuhat is imong avoid ang conflict. Imong battle ang challenging or difficult na emotions. Okay, and lastly, that's the last. It's not stress that kills us. I'll give you this quote. It's not stress that kills us, it is our reaction to it. Everybody of us experience stress. We have problems. Money one thing na sure jud na dili mawagtang. Problems. It's how we react, how we deal with our stress that sets the difference. Okay? And I hope in some way, even if little lang kay siya, it will improve how you deal with your stress. So I'm here to remind every one of you to remember to be kind to yourself every single day. And hopefully, dili lang po sa inyong self but to others. Because remember, not all of us are rowing the same boats. We all have different experiences and challenges that we're currently facing. So, be mindful. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. I am now here to tell you that I'm so glad for the rest of the semester that we've been through together. Congratulations, class. You've reached this far. I'm so proud of you. And this is me officially signing off. So see you, class, when I see you. Congratulations again. And as always, have fun in learning.